Thank you, Emily. I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar today. We have seen the farm to table movement really explode a lot in the last few years, and we know that it is relevant in many different career pathways and career clusters. So we welcome you today, and here is a brief rundown of what we hope to cover in the next bit of time with you. First, we're going to take a look at some activities and resources that we have found in our research that we want to share with you that you can take and use with your programs right away. Then we're going to move into some scenario-based learning and how to integrate soft skill instruction into this content area. We're going to give you guys kind of a sneak peek at a brand new RealityWorks Farm to Fork lab kit that we now have available. We will then follow that up with some more free career exploration, lesson plans and resources. And then, of course, we will end with the Q&A, as Emily said. So let's dig in right away with the activities and resources for teaching farm to fork lesson content. Now, we've done a lot of research in the last few weeks as we put this together and came across a lot of really good things that we'd like to share. Now, the first link that you see in front of you, the chain of food, is for middle school level and is provided by the National Agriculture in the Classroom organization. And this link will lead you to a 45-minute lesson plan students can use to explore the path food takes all the way from farm to table. They'll begin on the farm and investigate food safety issues during processing, transportation, at restaurants and supermarkets, and of course, finally, in their own homes. And teams will identify how the food can become contaminated along that continuum. And then they're going to develop and present strategies for preventing contamination at each step. The second bullet, Food Span, is a free high school curriculum developed by the Johns Hopkins Center for Livable Future about food and how it gets from farms to forks. And it includes 17 different inquiry-based lesson plans. It also has 2 short films and over 100 activities and extensions that can serve as additional assignments or even some group projects. Now, the Food Span lessons were aligned to national education standards, and they're really quite easy to use and customizable. So we think that's a great one for you to take a look at, and you could use the entire curriculum or even teach those standalone lessons on topics of interest like sustainable agriculture or food waste. And then the third link that you see, 6 farm to table lesson plans, comes from a source called Twins and Teaching. And it's a link to 6 lesson plans for high school culinary arts programs. And this link will take you to activities and ideas for teaching farm to fork content. And if you are participating today, you will be getting a handout and this presentation with all of these links for easy access. So moving on to some more farm to fork lesson plans. The first link here is from the American Dairy Association, and it's a high school level resource. Students here will research how farmers are meeting the needs to increase food production while reducing impact on the environment. They're going to learn how dairy farmers combine sustainable farming practices to protect the environment. And then they're also going to explore many STEM-based career paths open to them in agriculture. The second link here is from the USDA, and this curriculum will explore the global food production system. Now, it was developed by educators at Teachers College, Columbia University, and the National Gardening Association. So it's part of the Linking Food and the Environment curriculum series that this source has. So the curriculum includes 29 teacher lesson plans, and they're divided into 6 units. It includes background information, some teaching tips, and assessment tools, student activity sheets, and also some suggested readings. And then our third link, which is the pizza or farm to pizza lesson plan. I thought this was a fun one from MSU Extension's webpage. And it's kind of a fun hands-on lesson plan. And it was really originally developed to help connect elementary school students with locally grown foods, especially the foods that make up one of their favorite dishes, pizza. But you could take this lesson plan and easily adapt it to all sorts of grade levels. So I just thought that might be another really fun, hands-on and engaging lesson plan that you could take a look at. Now, besides lesson plans, there are a lot of free videos out there, and I'm just highlighting just a very few here, but after a short search, you'll come across many, many good ones. So the first one is it's called Crunchy Carrots. Again, relatively short in length, focuses on the farm to fork journey of carrots specifically, from the ideal growing conditions to harvesting and production, and then ready for you to buy it in stores. Similarly, Magnificent Milk is from the same source, but this one happens to focus on milk production. So this source of these two short videos has a dozen or more different foods that you can watch from farm to fork. And then the third one takes an animation through the process of getting food from farm to table. So it's easy to incorporate some very short, fun, and very pointed videos into your lessons on this as well. And then when we look at farm to table webinars, there are many free webinars for instructors as well as students to learn farm to table content. And here were just a few that I found in my research. The first link will take you to the National Farm to School Network webinar series. And this one happens to have at least 24 different archived webinars, all relating to farm to table initiatives with schools specifically. The second link comes from NDSU, and they have a really robust schedule of webinars. And these are free, but you must register for them. And they also record and archive them. And then that third link, the On the Farm STEM, goes to several archived webinars focused, as it says, on STEM. This is a professional development series specifically for educators. So if you want to improve your own background knowledge on some of these issues, that might be a very good place to go. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, who's going to talk about scenario-based learning.
Hey, thanks, Denise. Yeah, exciting to see and hear about those cool opportunities. So feel free to click on those. We're going to focus now on some scenario-based learning. And scenario-based learning is a powerful way to integrate soft skills into your program. We have several different pathway-specific soft skill cards related to farm to table, culinary, and also agriculture content. We're going to share a scenario from each of these scenario decks so you can see how you would use them with your students. Scenario-based learning has many advantages, including learning the soft skills. And there are a few other reasons why we love scenarios and why we think they're so important. So the first one is it motivates the learner. A well-customized scenario stimulates the learner's curiosity. Curiosity helps them to want to know more about what happens next. The storytelling nature of scenario-based learning intrigues that learner's psychology. Therefore, naturally, this type of learning helps to generate a sense of motivation in the learners. The next one is preparing learners for real-world experience. Compared to traditional learning experience, scenario-based learning is more likely to produce effective outcomes. Learners develop more extraordinary cognitive abilities and become more conventional learners. They're able to see kind of how it's affecting their world right there. The learners exhibit better problem solving skills, memory, higher retention power, and excellent attention control. Another one we love is that it affects the thinking and behavior patterns. A scenario-based learning environment influences the learner's real-world behavior and helps them achieve the desired objectives. So for scenario-based learning, it's a well-designed accountability for the variables in the learner's real life. And so getting that understanding and changing their behavior patterns by going through those scenarios. The last one then is it promotes learning through experience. Scenario-based learning provides fundamental and relative knowledge for the learner. It generates essential skills like problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, and communicating. So it helps them really engage in all of these through real world or real life scenario-based learning. So to share a little bit about it, we have three different areas we're going to talk through. So the first one is the food processing, production, and safety. Then we'll talk about horticulture, and we'll finish up with a culinary one. So in the first one, the food processing, and here you see the whole focus of this one is responsibility. So our cards give a scenario that walks through, the company's sending out an important text and it's a critical interruption to the production. What are you going to do about it? So it gives you the scenario, gives you all the details that you're going to need, and then you flip the card over and it starts giving you different ways to look at this scenario. So in this case, it gives you and asks you to consider the point of view of you, the person in this scenario, your supervisor, and then also production. And from each one of those views, it asks key questions. In this case, there's 3 key questions that it's going to go over. And the whole purpose of it is to have you go through those key questions and consider how you would interact with it. Then how your supervisor would interact, and then how production would interact, giving you different viewpoints and different ways to consider how that scenario might play out. The next one is horticulture. So in this case, this is a great example of problem solving. So just kind of explain this scenario. Erica and Ben are new at indoor hydroponics and want to grow vegetables year round to sell at a local farm market. They don't have a large budget, so they decide to purchase a middle of the line hydroponics unit. They're also opt to save money by buying cheaper lights, but have now had a poor yield in their vegetables and trying to figure out what that went wrong and what to do about it. So again, it gives another situation, a problem solving here. Erica and Ben, you have to walk through what are those issues, what could be the reason, what might have to happen, and then asking the questions of what kind of cost, what does it do to their business, allowing open-ended opportunities for your students. The last one then we have is culinary. Again, another great employability skill here, and that soft skill is flexibility. Okay, here's the situation. How are you going to handle that ability for flexibility? And so in this case, you see the points to consider. We bring in different views. It's not always from you, it's from your coworkers, your managers, from the overall public, depending on what that is, and then giving different types of questions for you to look at, to work on. And again, these scenarios are not just for you alone or your student alone. It can be in group work, it can be teammates, it can be working as a larger group. So it brings in that problem solving and that cognitive thinking, critical thinking opportunity for your students.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. And I know many teachers that I've talked to at some of the conferences we go to use some of these type of scenarios. They even turn them into writing activities. They sometimes even do a think, pair, share, whole group, but they're very flexible. And it seems like such a small thing, but it certainly is helpful when you've got these scenarios ready to go for you and you don't have to think them up. But something so simple can really lead to some great conversations. So now we would really like to share a brand new kit that we have. It's a Farm to Fork Lab Kit from RealityWorks. And this kit will provide a 1-week hands-on unit for teaching farm-to-table principles using a variety of lab activities. The curriculum includes 5 lessons, and each of those has a different lab activity associated with it, and it integrates the use of the kit contents that you see on the screen in front of you. And there are enough things included in the kit for 5 kitchen labs to work on the activities simultaneously. And now we're going to take a deeper dive looking at the curriculum. And if you taught everything, it would be around 7 hours of teaching time, but each lesson, of course, is a standalone lesson as well. We have looked and aligned them to the national standards for family consumer science education, as well as multiple case ag curriculum strands. But again, there are 5 different ones. We do production of goods, processing agricultural products, transporting food to a regional distribution center, shipping produce to local retail stores, and then we end up with food ending up on your plate. So let's take a closer look at each of those. First of all, lesson 1, production of goods. The hands-on resource that you would use in this lab activity is a crop pest or field insect model set that we include. And your students are going to do research and presentation where they are going to, each small group, they're divided into small groups, and each one is given a different field insect. And they're going to identify the pest, and then they're going to research and put together a 5-minute presentation on the impact that that particular crop pest can have on the production of crops. So that one's kind of a really fun one. The bugs are just great. They're oversized and they're very realistic, and really a fun hands-on thing to get your students thinking about all the way back to the production end and just how much impact one insect can have on a crop. Lesson 2 is all about processing agricultural products. And in this particular lab activity, they're going to do a food contamination lab, and they're going to be using the Petri dishes and the agar powder to do this. And their food is going to be left in different environments. And then students are going to determine which environment contributed to the contamination. So they're going to have a lot of fun with, mixing up the powder in the Petri dishes and then putting them in a few different environments, and then over time, see what grows in those dishes. So number 3, when we talk about transporting food to a regional distribution center, in this lesson, they are really going to be learning all about that cold chain process. And the students as a small group are going to be given dry erase boards, and they are going in markers, dry erase markers, and within the lesson they're going to be given a scenario, and then as a group they're going to document the cold chain pack process during the food transportation stage. So again, a good hands-on activity to think from through that whole stage of transporting food, getting it from one place to another safely. Lesson 4 is all about shipping produce to local retail stores. And in this lab activity, each group of students is going to have to solve an ethical dilemma on a challenge card. For example, should retailers display only perfect looking product or usable but not perfect? So they're going to have a set of scenario cards that have a bunch of different shipping, pricing, and packaging scenarios, and they're going to have to learn to critically think and problem solve as a group through that. And similarly, in the food ending up on your plate, we've got a scenario-based learning activity where the topic is going to be meal planning and grocery shopping challenge scenarios. And in this one, each kitchen lab is going to choose a challenge card, and it's going to include a specific planning for a specific number of meals with financial or ingredient constraints. So again, they're going to have to put in their problem-solving hats, work together as a team to solve that challenge. And you can see here we've shared 2 different scenarios from that kit with you today. You can go ahead and use these with you in your program to have your students try to problem solve themselves. We chose one from the shipping, pricing, and packaging scenario kit, and we also chose one from the meal planning and grocery shopping card deck. So you can go ahead and give these a try with your students and see how they do. But again, you can see how scenario-based learning really can turn students into great discussions, great problem-solving learning, weaving in a lot of soft skills as well. So we just love the scenario-based learning. So now I'm going to turn it back to Jamie to talk about some of our free resources.
Yeah, thanks, Denise. And we have some different types of free resources that really focus on career exploration. And so to share some of these, we have really focused in these areas of agriculture, culinary, food service, and then some family, consumer science, career exploration. So all these are on our website, and they are closely tied to that farm to table occupations. So you can go to this link and get all of these as free opportunities to use in your classroom right now as you go there. So those exploratory opportunities get your students to understand the different worlds that also would be involved within this farm to fork area.
And Jamie, each of these sets includes multiple lessons. I believe a few of them, there's as many as 5. So you could have a whole week worth of career exploration going on in farm to table types of occupations that your students might not even know about.
Yeah, and that's a great point. It gives you a wide breadth. And so, like you said, 5 different lessons in some of them. You can pick and choose which ones you want, or you can do the whole thing to get those students and be able to understand them. The next piece here is some free resources for you. So we'll start with our RealityWorks webinars. So the RealityWorks webinars that we put on, there are all of them are ongoing series of webinars for you. You register, attend, and receive the recording at the end. Just like the one we're doing today, you'll receive the recording. There are dozens of archived webinars on our website to access. So you can go for RealityWorks educational webinars designed to provide the latest product information, program best practices, tips and tricks, from experienced users, and more. So we have live online presentations are held by the product managers, curriculum specialists, product support technicians, and other subject matter experts, and feature live demonstrations, customer examples, and also question and answer sessions. So this is a great way for you to get connected and see what you're interested in and be able to watch those and view those on your own time when it works for you. We also have some more resources with some free infographics. These are great visuals for you to be able to have in your classroom. All you have to do is click on the link here, and as you go to them, you have the ability to print these out and put them throughout your classroom, allowing students throughout the day, put them in the hallways where students can look at them and get ideas on careers that might be interested, and give them an understanding of what's available and what's out there in different areas, from culinary, from agriculture, and then from plant and soil science career. So a great opportunity visually to give students some ideas to be thinking about where their careers could take off. Then we have some implementation guides. There are 4 main implementation guides that kind of work with this farm to table idea here, from our culinary program implementation guide, our hydroponics education implementation guide, soft skills, and then also career exploration, exploration implementation. It gives you a visual as well as walks you through what's involved with some of our products, what type of curriculum we have, and then how you might want to start implementing this into your classroom. So we help you kind of walk through those stages to be able to give you those implementations in bringing this into your classroom. And then lastly, let's not forget our social media. So if you go to our RealityWorks blog, there's a lot of great feedback there, a lot of testimonials, stories about what's happening throughout the country, and what people are using and doing in their classrooms. Also check out our Facebook page and also Twitter, giving you insight to not only what you might be interested in, but what other teachers, other places, other people are doing with our products and within the educational pathways that you're a part of. So again, great places to be and look for in that world.
All right. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, no problem.
And Emily's been watching the chat while we've been sharing our information. And Emma, we're going to turn it over to you for any questions you might have.
Yeah, so real quick, just wanted to go over what everybody's going to be receiving after the webinar. So everybody will be receiving a link to the recording, as well as a link to Denise and Jamie's handouts and PowerPoint slides. And for attending live, you will receive a certificate of completion, and you will see that in your inbox within 24 hours after the webinar. And Denise and Jamie, one of the questions that came through is, what is the cost of our new kit?
That is oh, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, so the farm table right now, it's $12.99. So that comes with all the different parts and pieces together, kind of bringing it in to that. So it includes everything that Denise shared with us, all those different lessons, all the different hands-on learning tools, and then the ability to walk through lesson by lesson for your students.
Awesome. And I did include the link to that product page. If anyone is interested in seeing what's all included, you can click that link as well.
Perfect. And that has the price on it too, so they can see that there as
Yep.
well. Yep. Wonderful.
And I'm not seeing any additional questions coming in at this time.
All right. Well, we would like to thank you for sharing time with Jamie, myself, and Emily this morning on Farm to Table. We hope that you found a few gold nuggets to try with your class, and we would love you to take a closer look at our Farm to Fork lab kit. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much.